My reading routine is not particularly complex. I simply try to read every single day, even if it's just 1 or 2 pages. Whether this happens in the morning or in the evening basically depends on my mood. I really don't like the idea of having a fixed time of the day to read because it automatically feels like there's an obligation to do it, which basically destroys the pleasure I get from reading. I found 10 interesting ways to spice up my reading routine and I want to share them with you today. My trick to be consistent and read a lot of books is mixing up types. I've talked about this in a previous video, but it definitely makes a lot of difference for me. For instance, while reading a classic can be incredible, the type of writing is usually very dense, complex, and the books are usually quite long. This means that after I read a classic, I will pick up something much lighter, like a self-help book, a small romance, or something of the sort. If I switched to an equally complex novel, I would probably feel tired and leave the book unread. I've been such a great fan of the Blind Date with a Book website. I've been recently ordering a lot of books from them and they come wrapped beautifully, and you only know what's the book when you unwrap it. While you're browsing the website, you're able to choose the topics of the books you want to order, and they all come wrapped individually. My buddy reader is my dear friend Mary, which edits my videos and has an awesome YouTube channel, which I'll link down below. And each month we unwrap one of these blind date with the books together and then have 1 month to read it. I believe that if you're struggling with your reading habits, buddy reading a novel is a great way to keep accountable for your reading. You can create your own rules, grab some coffee, and discuss the novel from time to time. You get a lot of interesting insights out of this discussion, and it's also a great way to end up reading some books that you didn't choose, and some of them can end up surprising you. There are some awesome reading challenges out there, like the OWL challenge, which basically requires you to read a book corresponding to one of the subjects covered in Hogwarts O.W.L exams, or the readathon, which is an intensive period where you read more than it's usual and set a usually unattainable goal to reach, and in this particular case I think that unattainability is part of the fun. I'll link down below the master list for 2019 reading challenges, which of course you can reuse back in 2020. This one is a classic, but joining a book club will give you part of the buddy reader experience by providing access to book recommendations, insights, reviews, and comments that you wouldn't otherwise have access to if you were reading alone. You can do this traditionally or join an online book club. There are hundreds of them in Goodreads, and you can find a book club featuring specific topics, genres, and interests, whatever your heart desires. I'm now a fan of having a yearly reading list, and that's basically a list of 12 books that I promise to read in the beginning of a new year. My goal is to read 1 per month, but you can come up with a different way of doing this and set a different number of books and read them by quarter, season, semester, you name it. I think that a yearly reading list sets the mood for the year and allows you to reflect on the type of readings that will dictate your year and inspire you. If you're curious about my reading list, I will link a PDF with all the titles and authors down below. When you're feeling like you can't select a new book to read, just find a completely ridiculous way to pick a book. I remember a couple of months ago I entered the bookstore with the clear purpose of purchasing a book with a golden cover. Actually, that was a very nice book, and I ended up delving into a very specific genre that I never explored before. Challenge a friend to pick a book from their bookshelf for you to read and do the same for them. The only rule is picking a book that your friend hasn't read before. Instead of having to find ways to choose the books you're going to read next, just commit to reading the books or authors who won prizes. There are many to choose from, including the Pulitzer, the Hugo, and the Nobel, but you can choose other prizes like the Goodreads Yearly Choice Awards. Formalizing my habit of reading was the main reason why I became so incredibly consistent with the habit recently. I did small things that, despite seeming meaningless, changed my mindset towards the habit. First of all, I got a lot more involved in the community, participating in forums, searching for recommendations, and learning more about new trends. The other thing I did was spending the time to list all of the books I remember I ever read in my Goodreads account. I created a reading challenge for myself and started doing regular updates on my reading progress. And I tried to commit to write reviews, although a lot of them haven't been made public yet. These small actions create a routine that allows me to feel accountable for the habit and to keep exploring new things about books and new authors. And if you love to learn as much as I do, and if you want to incorporate learning into your routine more often, then this is the best time to sign up for today's sponsor, CuriosityStream, because you now have access to 2 education platforms instead of 1. CuriosityStream is a subscription streaming service with thousands of documentaries and non-fiction titles created by the original founder of Discovery. But now your CuriosityStream subscription is 2 in 1. With your monthly subscription for $2.99, you also get access to NEBULA, a streaming video platform built by and for independent education creators, like Minute Physics, Half as Interesting, Thomas Frank, Real Engineering, Wendover, Tirzu, and also me. NEBULA is a place where education creators can keep producing content and original series without restrictions, without the ads, and most of all, with the support of an entire community dedicated to learning. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next week. Bye guys!